Hello, it's Philip Taylor speaking from Richmond Green Chambers. I'm looking at a book from Waterside Press this morning, which is called Whose Criminal Justice?, subtitled State or Community. It's edited by 4 people from the Birmingham University Community and Criminal Justice Group. They are Katherine Doolin, John Charles, John Raine and Anthony Beech. But there are a large number of contributors from that group. You can see the list there and there, and they've each been responsible for the various chapters. The very useful is that they do have conclusions to quite a large number of the points they make. There are useful footnotes at the side for each of the individual chapters that are covered, and the total number of chapters are 14 altogether. There is an index at the back, which is not particularly big, but it's suitable for the purpose. There's a review on the web from Flickr and various other places, and we've given it the title, A New Agenda for the Big Society, because that's really what this is about. Let me explain, because the book is obviously aimed at a whole group of different types of professional practitioner. So in about 300 pages, what we've got here probably a record for a serious statement of the problem, which is actually criminal justice today. Now, the 4 editors have produced a highly readable statement on where we might be going with the criminal justice process in the next decade, after years of legislative change. I have to say, much of which has been to little or no avail, frankly. There are 18 contributors in total, and they come together under this Birmingham Criminal Community Justice Group banner, and they cover a range of areas including law, criminology, forensic psychology, social work and public management. And the overarching theme throughout the work is the balance between the role of central government in creating and shaping the regulatory framework that we have for criminal justice, and the potential for communities at local level to become more involved and to exercise more responsibility for themselves in responding to crime and antisocial behaviour in their midst. And all this is now, of course, under the new coalition government's policy after years of single-party political control, and, of course, the various failures of many of the implemented measures, and I can think of many in the last 25 years alone. The twin dynamics, therefore, are examined in detail in the 2 main sections of the book. Part 1 is the regulatory state, looking at a series of case studies, and the authors examine how the central state has sought to address the risks and problems associated with crime and antisocial behaviour in modern times. They then consider the new context for law and order which has arisen and question how and why new sanctions were put in place to regulate particular kinds of behaviour. Obviously, we all know the views of many people as to whether they've been successful or not. They also highlight some of the unintended consequences, notably what is called the actual criminalisation of more people, and the reality of sanctions themselves as criminal justice is reviewed by the coalition, because we do have this problem of a much larger number of people with criminal records. In part 2, we have empowered communities as stakeholders in criminal justice. Bit of a mouthful, that lot, but what it means from chapter 8 onwards is that the book explores the potential for local communities to play a greater role in addressing the problems of crime and antisocial behaviour in their own neighbourhoods. And I think it's probably going to be linked to the developing concept of the big society, which was launched effectively in detail last month by David Cameron. Now, in the second section of the book, the authors also consider the prospects for crime reduction through a more localised approach in which citizens and communities play a more active part in the big society. And therefore we welcome the book, obviously from an applied criminology point of view, looking at the role of the police under cuts and all the other problems that we have within the public sector itself. I think it's going to be of great use to us in this area, and to all those interested in the criminal justice process generally, across the board, because it provides a timely and topical stock-taking of the key issues and challenges that we have. So through an exploration of the relative strengths and limitations of centrist and localist approaches to tackling crime and antisocial behaviour, this title from Waterside, I think, offers a prescription of principles and priorities for a way forward for the next decade, and it will be of great interest, I think, to see what actually happens as the second decade of the century unfolds. Yes, it's another useful work, and it's actually a detailed, complex work, this one, from Waterside, for what I think is a wide readership. And the new agenda is clearly being set at the present time, and I think this adds to it. So thank you to all concerned for a very useful new addition to the criminology library. Thank you, bye-bye.